to Cooking with the Immediatos. Here's our holiday edition.
Christmas edition, yes.
Christmas edition, holiday edition.
Anything you want it to be.
That's it. Depends how long it runs. It could be Easter. It could be Valentine's Day.
Memorial Day. But today we're going to do a whole bunch of appetizer type things. We have a soup planned,
Yes.
which is delicious. Everybody has they don't have any time during the holidays, so we're going to kind of show you some quick little things that you can whip together if you're working during the day and you're like, oh my gosh, these people are coming over, I got to get this together. Or like on the weekends or something like that, you know, you have like people that just show up. This is easy stuff you can just do right in front of them that makes life a lot easier.
What you do all the time.
I know.
I don't know about make life easier.
I make life a lot easier, trust me.
We're going to do a sausage kale soup. This soup, it can be done in like 30 minutes, so it's real fun, easy, got great taste and flavor. Just something fun, quick. I'm going to do these meatballs, really cool, fun cranberry, orange meatballs that you can kind of do and have set out. They can be hot or cold. Just great little things that you can kind of do because you have people coming over all through the holidays. So Jen loves this time of year because she loves to do hors d'oeuvre type stuff versus the whole full meals.
It's so much fun. I am an appetizer type person. Like when we go out to eat, I will sometimes get an appetizer as my entree because, well, they're filling for one, and usually if you get an appetizer and an entree, it's just too much. So I would rather have an appetizer and have a couple drinks. So this is really simple. I love crostinis. It's one of my favorite things. You got, you know, your bread here. I got this wheat bread, and I'm just cutting it down just into little sections, which he's going to take this and get it on the pan for me. I've done this before in a different show, so you can just kind of watch him. But this is the main ingredient here. So I have.
What is the crostini that you're making?
This, you can make the crostinis and you can put anything on the crostinis. So what I'm doing is I'm going to do some goat cheese, some cream cheese, some fresh thyme, and some roasted garlic. I've already roasted my garlic. And I also have a vegetarian one back there, but we'll get to that one in a minute. This is some turkey bacon, just because it's not as like fattening and greasy. So I cooked some of my turkey bacon off, and then we're gonna top it with cherry tomato, which is so yummy. I'm like a goat cheese freak, so I love goat cheese. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take I got some cream cheese here, just to mix the cheeses together. Mainly the reason too is because goat cheese is kind of expensive, so you get more bang for your buck if you mix the two cheeses together. So I've already peeled some of my thyme. This is a fresh thyme.
Let's bring this over here.
Okay.
Center it up.
All right. So I got my fresh thyme in there, and then I have my roasted garlic, which is amazing. I could just eat that by itself. It's
easier too if you let that cheese sit out and kind of soften up.
Yeah, it's been that's what I was getting to. I've let it sit out for a little bit so that it's more room temperature. Because if it comes right out of the refrigerator, you're like trying to get to it.
Sounds like a race car.
So I'm just kind of mixing all this up right here.
Salt and pepper in that too?
I mean, you can if you want. So my crostinis are already in the oven, and then this I'm going to mix up and we're going to let this sit a little bit. You want to finish this and I'll finish it?
Sure.
So over here, I'll just kind of bring it to the camera. I've sauteed some red onions just with some butter and some fresh mushrooms, which is right there. And so I just have that sit in my pan. But right now we're waiting for the crostinis to get done, so once we get this all mixed, we're just going to let this sit and we'll come back to this. But for right now, I think he's going to start to show you how to make the soup. I'm going to make sure the crostinis don't burn, because Tony doesn't know how to use a timer.
You play with this so much you don't need a timer.
Exhibit A!
All right, so basically I like to use a spicy ground sausage. All right, we're going to have our garlic. Garlic, you know, is my go-to thing. We have our roasted peppers and onion. So those two things we're going to I'm going to cut some of this onion, cube it up. We're going to saute the onion and the sausage together. Get that going. Then after we do that, then we'll add our chicken stock. the chicken stock and let all that come together, and then we'll finish it with our kale and also our gnocchis that I want to use. Potato gnocchi, so it's kind of, you know, you get that whole potato sausage soup with kale.
Kale is so good for you.
It actually, and what I like to do is I like to just throw it in at the end and let it sit so it's still nice and crunchy. It just gives it a whole new, you know, character, taste to it. It's different elements. This, it doesn't have to be, because it's going to be a soup, so everything can be chopped up real rustic. It doesn't have to be real small.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about soup. No one's going to measure your onions or your garlic. You can just throw it in the pot and it just marinates in there, it cooks up, and it just flavors everything so good. This, and soup is really inexpensive to make too.
And hearty.
As we were talking about, like the crostinis. I mean, what you can get a loaf of, you know, bread for, I don't know, $1 or something.
That's good.
And then the other thing too is you can do, if you're gluten free, you can do your gluten free bread, and then you can do the mushrooms and onions. I'm not sure. Is this gluten free? Cheeses?
Cheese?
I think they can still eat cheese. I'm not really sure about that, but definitely not the bread that I'm cooking.
So I just put that on the stove top. I'm going to let this start to brown and cook, and then we'll go to each other step. Now, onions are a little potent, making my eyes a little watery.
Welcome back. Tony just took the crostinis out of the oven. By the way, it was 350 for about 10 minutes. You just oil them and spice them. We have our crostinis right here, so I'm going to do the mixture of goat cheese, cream cheese, fresh thyme, and roasted garlic. We're going to just spread that along there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple tomatoes, pop them on there. And then I have the turkey bacon. I'm just going to kind of put that on the top there.
We got our little sidekick here. He likes to be under your feet while you're cooking. Pick up any of the crumbs.
That's my brown bean. Okay, and then I'm going to do this one. I was talking about like the vegetarian one. I mean, you could just, this is limitless. Like you could do olives. Like you can do an olive tapenade with a mixture of olives that you can put in the food processor and mix it up. You could do that. You could do artichokes, mozzarella cheese. I mean, you could even do like a fresh piece of mozzarella cheese, a piece of basil, and a tomato. I mean, these are like really hearty, like heavy type hors d'oeuvres that don't cost a lot, and they're really not that hard to make. I mean, you see, it really didn't take that long to do it. And then you can also use like gluten-free bread if you have to.
The biggest thing is your prep work. Once you get everything prepped, you get your crostinis, get them done, you can set them aside and you can kind of work with them at any point because they're toasted.
It's like amazing.
I always like to throw some fresh parsley diced up on there too because it just gives it a whole nother accent of flavor.
Well, and it's very Christmassy, red and green, red and green. So we have our crostinis going, so I'm going to just make a couple of these up, and then Tony's going to take over back to the soup so he can finish showing you how to finish this soup, because he's got all his meat browned and he's ready for his chicken stock. I think that's what he's going to put in there now.
All right, so that's all nice and brown, and your chicken stock you can get at any grocery store. I always like to get the one low sodium because you're always going to have plenty with everything else that's in your soups or whatever it is you're making. All right, there's this one. And I'm just making this for our family. You know, you're going to have dinner tonight. This is one of those things that if you're in and out, you're doing stuff around the house, you're decorating a tree, whatever it is you're doing, put this on, let it go, and when somebody's hungry, you just dip it out and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Alright, so we got those.
Especially if you have teenagers, because they always have their own agenda, and they never want to hang out with you unless you're feeding them or giving them money. So, if you have good food, they will come. They will come and they will eat, and then you'll be able to talk to them. And it's all about spending time together during the holidays, and however you figure a way to do it.
That's it. So roasted peppers, you can get them at the grocery store. I took them, I diced them up. We're gonna put those in. All right, we got those in. Now the only other thing is I got probably about 2 cups of half and half. I'm gonna add that to that as well, and that's gonna give us a nice cream. But the base of that soup was all chicken stock. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to put the lid on, and I'll let that come to a boil.
I'll tell you, want one of these?
As that comes to a boil, we'll reduce that down. Then we'll add our gnocchi, our dry gnocchi, and our kale, and let it sit. And at that point, in 15 minutes, it's going to be ready to eat. So there's that.
Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I can't even stand it. This is like my favorite. Like, I could just eat this and drink a couple glasses of wine, and that's dinner for me. Like, that's just good stuff right there. Bread's not that great for you, but it's okay. It's wheat. It's whole wheat. We're good. So.
All right. So while that's back there, I'm going to bring our kale over. You can always get kale at Willie's. They have it all year long. It's really good. I just like to take these big chunky ends, stems off, just because they do get a little chewy in the soups. The big leafy, I mean, it's real leafy. So if you were to use spinach or something of that nature, it's going to wilt down and kind of disintegrate quicker than the kale. Kale, I like the crunchiness of the kale. So for me personally, and this one I just kind of slice down in bite-sized pieces. So when you're eating it with your spoon, you don't get all silly. So that's ready to go. And then again, the gnocchis, it's a dry potato gnocchi. I'm using this because it's quicker than putting potatoes in and the potatoes breaking down. These are going to last a little bit longer. So those are the last 2 ingredients for the soup at this point. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'll show you how to make these cocktail meatballs, and then we'll finish up the soup, and then we'll get on to making some cookies. Healthy cookies at that. We'll see you in a couple. Okay, so here we go. To simplify, you can always make your own meatballs, which we do when we have the time. But in the crazy time, you can always purchase the meatballs that are already done. Okay, so with that being said, when I do them as a cocktail meatball, I like to boil them because I don't want to dry them out. I like them to be still real moist. So basically, I did that.
Into the meat.
They're boiled. I turned them off. All we have to do is strain them. Okay, but for the fun holiday sauce, or that we put over those, we actually made our own cranberry. Now, you can buy the gelled cranberries, but to make it a little bit more fun and homemade, what we did is we take.
This is so easy.
2 cups of the
cranberries.
raw cranberries with a cup and a half of sugar and water. Probably in about 2 cups of water, and then all we did was we let that reduce down. So now we have a nice.
And don't get nervous. It's going to start to boil and bubble. Just kind of turn it down a little bit and just stir it. Not a lot, but you got to stir it here and there. But it turns into this gel and
cranberry.
Yeah.
How about that?
It's
amazing what sugar does.
It's quite scientific.
So basically, for this sauce, we have that. I'm going to add some barbecue sauce to it, just to give it a nice little zinger as well.
You never think about that, huh? Barbecue sauce and cranberry sauce.
And then I like oranges. You can use a fresh orange or you can use orange juice, whichever you have. If you have orange juice, you can do that. I'm going to do this, cut these in 4, and then I'm going to squirt them in. I'm going to squeeze 2 of them in.
Sure. I don't want to get the seeds. Are there any seeds in it? I don't have any seeds in there. I'm going to put it like this. This is how I use my hand as a strainer. Are there any seeds in? I'm nervous.
All right, so there's that. If you can rinse that, because we're going to strain the meatballs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry about that, buddy.
Her sink, she always throws everything in it. I come down, there's a pile in it every day.
No, I get upset because I'm like, okay, one sink, people. If you're going to put the dishes in the sink, don't pile both sides. Just give me one free sink. I can't take it.
Really?
See,
I'm going to start taking pictures of that.
You're putting stuff in there.
Because you're in my way. Okay, so there we go. Got that.
This is not scripted. I'm just letting you know. This is really how we are. Get out of my sink. You're touching my knife.
All right, let's see. Oh, yeah.
So
it's got this sweet, yeah, that's really good.
This right here is something that you can make, and it's so easy, and people are going to say, oh my God, this is so good. How did you make this?
So there's the meatballs. Right? Nice and moist. I'm going to put them right in the bowl. Now you can do this too, and this is something, if you know you're home, you have a crock pot, you can definitely put it in your crock pot and leave it. Or you can do it and put it right on a bowl like this.
And these are kind of big meatballs. I mean, you can get them smaller, you can make them smaller. You can also do turkey meatballs if you want to get into that. I'm always thinking out of the box. There's also the packages where it's the veal, the pork, and the beef mixed together.
Yeah, definitely, if you want to make your own, they're always best. But like I said, when it's this time of year, you have people coming over, you kind of do a quick, get together with family and friends. This is just something fun and different.
And it's different than just like meatball sandwiches and rolls or, hot dogs wrapped in blankets. It's definitely different, and it's real food.
I always throw a little bit of the fresh parsley on top because it just gives it a nice little color.
Anytime you're doing anything too, you can always get stuff from the store, and add a fresh herb to it. Like I put fresh thyme in there, and it just gives it that fresh made taste to where it doesn't taste like you got it out of a can or a bag, or so anytime you want to get something from the store,
now they're good.
You can always
little
jazz
hot.
it up.
Ooh. Cool down.
Water might be better for that.
Well, here's the soup. Okay, as you see, we put the potato gnocchi in and the kale, and see how it just kind of broke down just a little bit. And this is my favorite here. It's a light soup, but at the same time a hearty soup.
And the kale going in the last minute is really good because then it doesn't get, too saturated. So you still have that little bit of crunch going on in there.
There's that, and you want to put some of that cheese on that?
All right. This is locatelli, and it's okay if chunks fall in because not that much of a chunk. That's live TV. The locatelli cheese just adds to it. That's a big chunk. Oh, I shouldn't cause some. I'm sorry.
Big chunks, big wine.
You do your own cheese, because apparently I'm not very good at cheesing. That's okay. That'll melt down in there, and that's okay. We'll get a good bite of that going on. Do you want some soup?
All right. So there it is. It could be a holiday soup. It could be a rainy day soup, a snowy day soup, whatever you want. Holiday wrapping soup. But any catering needs that you ever need, Immediatos is here to fix and help and simplify for
We
you.
have a website, Immediatos.com, that has everything on there from
Express catering, the full service
sliced roast
catering,
beef, finish to big
whatever you want. It's got it all. But again, like I said, you can simplify it and do all these things yourself, or you can call us I mean, this is just fun things that we do. We like to just sit around and, you know, eat, drink, and have fun. Holiday season, spend time with your family. You don't want to be cooking the whole time. So do stuff to simplify so you can actually sit back, relax, you know?
We do express catering too, so like we make it, you pick it up, and then you put it on your own plate, and then you say that you made it. And then what happens in Immediatos stays in Immediatos. It's okay. We don't care.
That's good. That's really good. Like I said, I did use this spicy hot sausage. If you don't like spice, just use the sweet.
Yeah.
Either one.
And you don't have
it gives
to
a
do
lot of
roasted
flavor
peppers
though with the hot sausage.
Yeah.
Roasted peppers I like to put in there just because of the color.
And here we got our red and green again.
Yeah.
Red and green, red and green.
So again, from the Immediatos to you guys, our table is always your table. You know, we want everybody to have a safe and happy holiday and enjoy all the time you have with your family.
Yep. Even if it's only a couple days or a day or a couple hours. It's a little hectic for us.
This is crazy. This is a crazy season. So until next time, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Merry Christmas.